Dave, did you hit the recording?
She had a
Well, Michael's gonna be over here, so I'll put it here.
Ready, Dave?
Yeah.
All right, folks, I'd like to call the governance committee of the Clinton County Industrial Development Agency to order, February 23rd, 2026 at 12 p.m. Roll call is Mr. Hoover and myself. Mr. Van has asked to be excused. We have a reading of the notice of the meeting was published in the Press Republican on December 11th, 2025. We have no presentations to consider today. We do have a reading consideration of the draft minutes of the November 17, 2025 meeting. Mr. Hoover, I'll take a motion to approve.
motion.
I will second. If there's no additions, deletions, or corrections, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. There is no old business, but we do have several items to review under new business. It's our annual review of statements and policies and approval or recommendation to the full board for approval to Paris or to posting to Paris. Mr. Hoover, we had these documents prior to the meeting, so there was ample time to review. We have to look at the missions and operations statement, the operations and accomplishments, performance measures report, the 2025 procurement report, 2025 real property report, and the 2025 investment reports. I will say for the record that Mr. Van Atten has, although not a voting, not in attendance and voting this morning, has verbally indicated his approval of these documents. With that, Dave, if there's no questions, I will entertain Chris, can we do them all together, or you want them to? We'll move these in a block, if that's okay.
yep, I'm okay with that, and I'll make a motion to recommend them to the full board.
Okay, so there's a motion by Mr. Hoover. I will second that motion is to review and recommend approval of missions and operations statement, the operations and accomplishments, performance measures report, procurement report, real property report, and investment report. And so we're going to recommend to the full board approval and posting of same to Paris. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Seeing no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion. to
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. At this time, I'd like to open the governance committee of the Clinton County Capital Resource Corporation. February 23rd, 2026 at 12 p.m. The roll call, Mr. Hoover and myself in attendance. Mr. Van Atten has asked to be excused. We have no presentations. We do have a reading consideration of the draft minutes of the November 17, 2025 meeting.
I got it.
Is there a motion?
The motion.
Second by me. If there's no additions, deletions, or corrections, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. No old business this morning. Moving on to new business, our annual review of policies and statements. Under new business, we have the 2025 Capital Resource Corporation Mission Statement and Measurement Review Report, 2025 Operations and Accomplishments, 2025 Procurement Report, 2025 Real Property Report, and 2025 Investment Report. For the record, these documents were sent to the Governance Committee well in advance of this meeting. There's ample time to review. While not in attendance, Mr. Van Atten has indicated his approval of these reports. As such, I will entertain a motion to approve and post all of these reports.
I'll make the motion.
Seconded, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Seeing no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
make the motion.
Second, all in favor?
I.
Opposed? Carried.
You almost got it down.
Oh, a sip of water.
Out of practice.
At this time, I'd like to call the Governance Committee of the Grant Facilitation Corporation to order. February 23rd, 2026 at 12 p.m. Roll call. Mr. Hoover and Mr. Zerlo are present. Mr. Van Atten has asked to be excused. We have no presentations. We do have a reading consideration of the draft minutes of our March 24, 2025 meeting. If there's no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have no old business. Moving on to new business. We have our annual review and recommendations of statements and policies. For the record, the committee was provided these policies well in advance of the meeting and has ample time to review. And while not in attendance, Mr. Van Atten has verbally indicated that he's in favor of these policies and reporting of same. On the agenda, we have the 2025 Grant Facilitation Corporation Missions and Operations Statement, 2025 Grant Facilitation Corporation Operations and Accomplishments, 2025 Grant Facilitation Corporation Procurement Report, 2025 Grant Facilitation Real Property Reports, and 2025 Grant Facilitation Investment Report. If there's no questions, I will entertain a motion to recommend approval of those reports and posting of same to Paris.
I'll make the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Zerlo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Seeing no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.
Matt, are you gonna want this shared with what was on the screen?
Ideally.
Okay.
If you'd like to see.
No problem.
Thank you, Mike. That was 6 minutes.
Well done.
I don't think it's a record.
Get older.
About records or wins?
Touche, Chair.
Am I on the clock too? Just about.
1 second. Give us 1 second. We gotta just convene the meeting first.
Yeah, I just have to open the meeting. And pass one resolution.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll call the Clinton County Capital Resource Corporation. Sorry, quorum. Make the reading of the notice of the meeting as well as the minutes and ask for a motion to approve those. Dave,
Second.
Christine, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Molly, you want to introduce?
Sure. So we have Matt Kolar here from the University of Vermont Health Network Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital and their counsel, Brendan Owens, and I believe they have counsel on the line as well. They are here today to talk to us about a bond application. As per our procedures, this is just a presentation. You're not voting on anything today. That will be at the next meeting.
Better be a good presentation then.
Matt, if you want to come up here and you can just click the laptop.
If we have somebody on the line, it would be a financial advisor.
Oh, sorry. Apologies.
So yeah, as Molly said, I'm from CEPH, from Blackpool. I'm the chief financial officer. And I'm here to present a little bit about the project that we are hoping to fund with the bonds that we hope you will help us facilitate in issuing. So you know what we're talking about. Brief introductions are done. there's two components to this bond issue that we're debating. We would like to do obviously a capital improvement. So there's a construction component and there's a refinancing component of existing long-term debt that CDPH already holds, some of which was actually issued through this agency. So why are we doing this and what are we doing? I'm assuming most of us are familiar with CDPH. We have an inpatient tower that's highlighted on a map off to the side. That was constructed in 1968. It's only seen limited improvements since then. It is old, as again, I'm sure you're familiar with if you visited lately. So it's due for upgrades. In addition to that, there's a trigger. CMS, so Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in Washington, issued a rule in 2016 mandating that all high-rise acute care facilities need to be sprinkled by summer of 2028. And we still have several floors that are not sprinkled. Given how complex construction is in the hospital world, we looked at just sprinkling them, but they cannot be exposed. They would have to be integrated into our ceilings. If you open the ceilings in the building that was built in 1968, you find all sorts of things, asbestos and everything else included. So we did a feasibility study and calculated that just doing the sprinklers would cost like 60% of the total cost of brand new construction. So what we're planning to do is gutting the inpatient floor. So this is what the R tower is. We're going to strip it all the way down to the studs and rebuild it from scratch. So all the mechanicals, electrical, water, HVAC, all of the finishes, new head walls for the patient rooms, you name it. To do this, we're trying to stage it because we understand that as the only acute care facility in town and really in the region, we can't really drop capacity, so we can't shutter an entire floor. We had some idle space in an adjacent building that we already renovated over the course of last year. So that's phase one of the project. We converted a unit that was underutilized into patient care space. And we moved patients from the R tower, which is what we need to renovate for the sprinkler project. And we already moved a unit down to the separate space. We are about to kick off this R tower renovation project and go floor by floor. So the next one we're going to start working on is R5. And then we're going to build a new one on top of that one, R6, and then another new one on top of that one, R7. We are trying to do this without any interruption to patient care, and we're not going to reduce overall capacity for the hospital. In addition to all of this, we're going to add beds ultimately, because we're going to add several double occupancy rooms onto each one of these floors. Most of our inpatient units right now only have single rooms. The regulations over time are becoming more restrictive or more generous to patients. We are limited by our footprint. So when we tear out all of this space and rebuild, we actually have to put fewer rooms onto each floor. But to maintain capacity, we're going to turn some of those rooms into doubles. So doubles are going to look like this. We're going to have still privacy screens available in between the rows. This is just a view of the floor. Honestly, looks pretty familiar even to today's layout. Most floors look similar to this, but they'll be significantly refreshed. There's a rendering of the nurse's station and of a single room with a private bathroom. They really do look substantially nicer than what we have now. So that was the construction piece. The refinancing that we're talking about, I want to describe that a little bit. We have about $34 million in long-term debt standing right now in a couple different loans that have balloon payments coming up that take extra work by our staff to manage separately because they have different repayment schedules. We are hoping to roll this all into this single issue to save on paper costs So it's going to be the administrative burden of managing all of these. We're hoping to place this, privately with the bank and just pay on a single loan as opposed to four, separate ones. I have a listing of the individual, loans that we're hoping to repay. So there's two 2016 series, which are the ones I believe just prior to my time, but those were the ones that were issued to this facility. We have another loan that we use to renovate the medical arts building. That's where our lab is. And some debt with Bank of America that we used for the M-Search renovation, where Hudson Headwaters currently resides. That's the most recent significant construction project that we did with debt financing. So in summary, this little table highlights what we're looking to do. Hospital grade construction is really quite expensive. So each floor is going to cost between $13 and $15 million. We are assuming some inflation in there because we're doing this in stages, and it's going to take us through 2028 to complete. Which adds up to about $43 million, and the refinancing would be another 34. So the total is just under $77 million. Guys have any questions?
No questions. You answered them actually. So there's no, I'll ask it anyway. Just to get on the record, there's no, with your moving around people, your pre-construction analysis, you don't believe there's gonna be any patient care issues at all? There'll still be as many beds during the construction process as they're currently being offered? Not beds, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't.
capacity.
Capacity.
I couldn't answer strictly specifically the number of beds.
So I could see it in your face, yeah.
Yeah. That moves up and down. Sometimes our beds break. Believe it or not, these beds are really high tech.
The level of care will not be,
That's our intent. And we've done a lot of planning to avoid any capacity issues. We're still treating everybody who needs treatment essentially. So yeah, we are maintaining capacity throughout the project.
Follow-up question, when you relocate, and you're putting them into different locations, was there a degradation of what's in a standard room to what the temporary locations are gonna be? You know, for example, oxygen supplies, things like that, are gonna be any adjustments, gonna be pretty much the same, just in different locations?
That's a good question. And no, in fact, it's really actually an upgrade because the unit that we built to accommodate these displaced patients, it's located on the fourth floor of the main tower, which is actually even older, but we renovated it. So it's a brand new unit. So the patients are coming off of aged units, coming into a brand new unit, and they're going to go back onto brand new unit. But they're already in a space that's fully compliant with Article 28 regulations in New York State. So that unit is actually more modern than the ones that we.
and when everything's done, the forget what you called it here, but the pre-construction, is that gonna be active?
So we're going to continue utilizing it as patient care space. We just haven't fully determined what type. We try to cohort patients. So our alternative level of care is what we're using that unit for right now, which is people who are not quite acute anymore, but they're still too sick to go home. So we have options to use it for other types of patients. We're certainly going to keep using it for patient care.
I'm good, Chairman.
Questions?
So this will be on our next meeting.
Yes.
Just to give a little 30,000 foot here. So these bonds would qualify, I guess, qualified 501c3 bonds because CDPH is a 501c3. Under section 145 of the code, we issue these bonds. We would have a tax questionnaire that would be sent to the borrower to flesh out what the prior loans were used for, but those should qualify for tax exempt bonds as well. So it'd be one bond issuance which would cover the refunding of those loans and the new money capital expenditures. So pretty standard.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Matt, I'm gonna be able to give that presentation before long. He's being on strategic planning and on CDPH, so
Is,
it's a great project.
is that, the one slide, the summary slide, is that potentially available?
You need to send it to you?
Do the 79 million, the
Am I okay to-
breakdown of the old stuff, is that
Yeah.
proprietary or?
The secrets?
Okay.
I can send that out.
Thanks.
Is there a schedule that could go with that too as well? You know, from the standpoint, I know you mentioned that there's timeframes of 2028 that had to be done. Is everything gonna be done by 2028 or just?
That's the goal.
The goal, so okay, so that's more or less your end date.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we have a lot more detail. I recognize that you guys are on a time crunch here, so I didn't want to bore you with too much detail, but we do have phase construction plans, engineering drawings, a lot more detail. The application for the bonds itself has a little bit more detail on how that construction.
Some
cost breaks down.
schedules, whatever.
That application is in your packet.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Brendan, thank you. Good to see you.
We'll be in touch, guys.
I notice you have been.
Okay.
Take care.
Brendan, see you.
Good, Brendan.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to committee reports.
Boy.
You're up.
Mike, you back up?
Uh,
No, actually.
Oh, wait, no, treasurer first. Yep.
Well, let Mike do that piece, and he's on the roll, Joey's getting off pretty easy.
I did review.
Christine.
Yeah, Christine does.
no, Christine does it back up.
Christina.
Yeah, oh, sorry, that Mark was good to do it. Sorry, go. Yep, you're all set. Sorry.
So, CCR&C income, the organization received $200 from NFI for FTZ fees and $2,500 from Schoenbeck for FTZ fees and $192.52 in interest income. Expenses, the organization paid $122 Miller and Company for legal services. And that's the end of report, Jim.
Okay. Any questions for,
Just a comment, the reason for the increase in legal fees is Schluter is establishing a foreign trade zone. So our council has to work on that, and that's why we upped our fees so that we could kind of recoup some of those legal fees.
Brother council.
My other council, Ford Trade Zone Council.
any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Mark, second Dave, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Governance committee, Mike.
Yes, Chairman, the Governance Committee met earlier this afternoon. Purpose of that meeting was to review 2025 policies, statements, and reports, and recommend or not recommend to the full board approval of those and posting of those to Paris. I'm happy to say that after thorough consideration, the Governance Committee unanimously is recommending to the full board that all of these statements and reports be approved and authorized posting of same.
Thank you. Any questions for Mike? If not, may I get a motion to approve and authorize posting of all 2025 reports to Paris? Christine? Mike? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any old or new business?
Just a question for Chris now that it occurred to me as I was sitting here. Chris, the bond that CBPH is seeking, is the fee paid on the 76 or is it paid on?
Yes, so I
What
have
new
to go
amount?
back.
79.
Does the CRC have a different schedule for
No.
fundings? Does not.
No.
Okay, they'll be on the 70.
So, but because I had that same question. So the fact that we received, I'm assuming 0.75% for the old projects that
No.
were going, it's irrelevant.
So.
I wasn't sure because they were rolling those in.
I don't think we need to talk about the bond council matter, but I wanted to raise it with you.
You're welcome to talk about it. You don't want to?
I'm fine with it. actually.
Okay.
So
From the beginning.
trying to get this. CDPH, you guys know more about this than I do, is part of the University of Vermont Health System.
Yes.
University of Vermont Health System typically uses a firm called Norton Rose Fulbright. They're all over the place, a very large firm, as their bond counsel. They approached Molly and also me about using Norton Rose as the bond counsel on this transaction, and I let Molly know that that's very, very unusual to say we want to use our own bond counsel, let alone in a different state. So I pushed back on that a little bit with Mr. Owens and another lawyer from a Vermont firm called Dins. They understood, and they had another conference call where we went over that. It was also kind of suggested that I step aside it. I'm not really, it's not just a business decision. We've been bond counsel for this CRC since it was, its inception, since we formed it. I do these transactions all day. So I think they got the message. Obviously, it's the goal of the board, whether you want to step aside it. And the bond counsel, that bond counsel, I think, it's not really appropriate for them to act in that room.
So where did you leave it with him?
Well, I let
Because-
them know that it was up to the board, but in my opinion, it's,
So why did it not Brendan raise the issue?
I think, I got my message across in a call last Friday. So I wanted to make sure that you were all abreast of it. Best. So,
It seems to me that this issue came up back on the original
Yes.
bond. And they were quite adamant about going their own way.
Yeah.
I pictured this whole thing back up at the T.
2016, and that was one of their arguments, because I don't know why it was before I joined the firm. For some reason, George stepped aside as bond counsel. I think he thought there was some political pressure to do so. It baffles me. I've never heard of anyone doing that. So
Well, we ended up with bond.
we ended up with the bond, right? And Norton's certainly a good firm. But this is what I do. So
I would also say that, given the different dynamics of the Vermont healthcare system, and the likely of shifting of services over here due to the Green Mountain Care Board decisions, using a Vermont firm, I don't think would be in our best interest. I think we would want to use somebody that uses New York. That's good here. And Chris is in very good taste.
So full disclosure, didn't want you to think I was playing kind of already.
Well, I mean, my personal opinion is, I like to use our own people. And that's just my opinion, but, do we need to take a vote on that, or just?
I don't think we need a vote.
We don't need a vote. I just wanted to bring it to your attention, obviously. As I let them know on the call on Friday, it's something like the will of the board, how much direction you want to go. But
I'm in agreement with Trent, but I'd like to just maybe take it one step further, pros and cons. And
Sure.
talk about it, if you were in our position, from, what you're being paid for to represent us and so
Sure.
on and so forth, pros and cons as to,
Yeah.
Molly's point. That's what I was wondering when we were going to bring in the decisions that were made over in Vermont, to be affecting here. And then our responsibilities to tenure that, to make sure.
And also Hodgkin Rest did a project just like this not very long ago, right?
that's one of the other things that was, I closed the transaction for the Delaware County CRC, which didn't have one, but the Delaware Valley Hospital needed a CRC, so we created one looking to split and closing the transactions. It's the same bank buying, the bond is here, Bank of America. It's the same lawyer representing Bank of America on that deal. Norton also tried to elbow us out of that one. The CRC there said absolutely not. We've used Hodgkin for forever.
Why was that firm wanting that business?
I think they might have a subspecialty of working in this area, but it wasn't any. It certainly wasn't any kind of deal I haven't seen before, so.
Hit oil, stop drilling, Chairman.
Hey,
You're all surprised.
hey,
No other business, Chairman. For the CRC.
may I get a motion to adjourn Capital Resource Corporation meeting. Dave,
Second.
Christine, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll open up the Clinton County Industrial Development Agency's meeting for February 23rd. Waive the reading of the notice of the meeting as well as the minutes, and ask for a motion to approve. Mike, Mark, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No presentations
None, Chairman.
and treasurer's report.
Okay, so, balance sheet, the account balance, 1/31/2026 was $99,880.51 in checking. $1.1 million in the sweep account. The Aero Bank savings account has a balance of $149,745.66 at 1/31/2026. The income statement, the organization made $190.64 in interest income on the savings account. The income statement shows the expenses that were approved and paid during the month of January on the cash basis. Wire transfers received in error for catalyzed pilot payments were 2 payments of $19,900. These will be refunded and show up in current liabilities. A transfer of $343,874.26 from Clinton County for a New York State DOT grant was received and paid out to South Junction. Invoices received and paid in January were as follows. The Clinton County Treasurer for administrative fees in December, $13,000. CPL Architects project costs, $5,736. TDC Northern New York Incorporated Manufacturing Day sponsor, $2,000. Credit card payment meeting expense, $604.88. Dorothy Brunel reimbursement for paid postage, $94.45. South Junction Enterprises, New York State DOT grant, $343,874 with 26 cents. Bank charges sweep fee, $10. Total expenses, $365,319.59. New York State Development meeting sponsorship paid in December, check cleared in January, $1,000. End of report, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for Kristen? Will you get a motion to approve the treasury report? Mark? Jane? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mike,
Yes, sir, Chairman. The Governance Committee of the CCIDA met earlier this afternoon. Committee reviewed 2025 statements, accomplishments, reports, and unanimously is recommending to the IDA that these reports be approved and authorize posting of same to Paris.
okay, any questions for Mike? If not, can we get a motion to approve and authorize posting of all 2025 reports to Paris?
Make a motion.
Christine? Mark? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business,
No old business, Chairman.
new business.
So first up, we were supposed to have Steve Frederick here. He just texted me. For some reason, he got a notification that this meeting was canceled. I don't know why. So he asked to be moved. Just as a brief overview, given our support of the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing and of the CVPH nursing program, Clinton Community College nursing program at CVPH, excuse me, that I did make the case that they're doing a naming campaign. So instead of doing a capital campaign, they're doing a naming campaign to try and raise money for strategic initiatives. Given our already significant contribution, I said that we probably should be allowed to have our name somewhere. So he is going to come and talk to us a little bit about that campaign, and we can decide you guys can decide as a board what you feel is the most appropriate spot to put our stamp on. So.
Project. Leo.
Yes, so we do have a few folks on the phone here. Today you are just approving the public hearing resolution. This is not an approval of the project itself, just to hold the public hearing.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone from the company wants to say anything, or David from Kroll, if you wanted to say anything, but.
Yes, we're on the line. Can you hear me? We had hoped to be there physically in person and had made plans, but were kicked back by the winter storm. So appreciate everybody in our last call reviewing this project. And Molly, I don't know if you want me to talk about any of the, anything about the project aspects as a refresher, but we're happy to support on any questions.
Anybody from the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't here, right?
No.
Yeah.
Let's do it, but-
We did have, if you want to do a quick overview, David, just because we do have a board member that wasn't at the last meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Let me share my screen briefly, and I will make it very quick. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is Project Leo. This is a battery energy storage system. It is being developed or would be developed by Brookfield Renewable, one of the largest industrial utility scale renewable energy creators in the Northeast. What the facility is a 75 megawatt AC power storage facility, roughly about 16.4 acres, 5 acres dedicated to the battery, roughly north of about $120 million investment. And what we're seeking today is the UTEP Renewable Energy Schedule pilot that'll help induce this investment as they continue to go through the appropriate NYSERDA interconnect queue and PPA work. How this battery system works, and I think it's timely because of the storm. If I checked the outage report, it looks like everybody in northern New York is doing great, which is excellent to hear. But the way this battery system works, this is new technology being put on the grid everywhere to increase grid reliability and stability. The batteries charge off hours in the middle of the night when usage and real-time energy prices are very, very low. So it charges on that cheap electricity, and then when folks get home, their kids are running around the house, turning on lights, everybody's turning on their air conditioning, their heaters at their residences. That makes a price spike for electricity during that part of the day. A lot of these markets in the background, wholesale power markets, they're real-time pricing. And when those prices get really high, obviously, that hurts everyone on down the line with trying to keep ratepayers' rates low. So if we can turn on this battery, help flatten the curve of that electrical pricing during the peak of a singular day, I think we can stave off energy prices for a lot longer. Additionally, for grid stability, these can be turned on, pretty instantaneously and deliver quite a bit of power to the grid for that local area and the citizens' benefits. Paul and Vijay, anything else you want to comment on about the technology? Okay.
Yeah, no additional items. Thanks, Dave.
Before you go on
Absolutely.
to the question.
Yep.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay, could you go back to the other slide you were talking about? You mentioned the duration is a 4-hour duration and it affects the system. is, at 75 megawatts, what's the recharging after that? Say it dissipates, uses up to 4 hours, and how soon can it be back available?
Yeah, so it's about 85% efficient. So roughly, like, to use 4 hours, you would need about 4.5 hours of charging overnight. So, you know, it's that the conversion is like, you get, if you charge 1 megawatt, you get 85% to discharge.
Okay. And another question, the environmental aspect of the batteries, it's going to be in what, the Line Mountain area, correct?
That's
By the-
right. Yeah, it's sited at the mining facility.
Okay.
Mhm.
And it's in the area right next to the substation. Is that where you're putting the shale area right next to it?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And what is the containment that's being planned for that? And any issues there from the environmental aspect of the
Yes, so
storage?
we're going to go through the Adirondack Park Agency permitting process. So we've initiated that process. We've done a lot of the upfront environmental diligence. So phase 1 studies, environmental site assessments. We have a letter from the APA who's visited the sites, and they have they did not identify any issues. We've done, a habitat survey as well. So no impact, no red flags identified there as well. So the next steps are to formally go through the APA approval process, which we haven't been through yet, but that's going to be kicked off immediately. But based on an upfront assessment, we did not identify any issues, including wetlands or any other concerns, given it's near a mining facility.
I would say if they can get through the APA process, there's probably not an
Well, I was gonna say-
Yeah.
Let's say good luck to them. Just remember, once they ask questions, and it starts 6 months all over again, so.
And
Right.
just as a reminder, the application that they gave us, the one that's in your packet is just the application piece, all the supporting documents. There was like, so if you wanted to take a deeper dive in the environmental, it's in their full application.
Well, and one last question, is it the circuit area that's up there? What area would this connect into the system? Do you know how many customers it's supposed to benefit in that area?
Yeah, it's going to tap into the Line Mountain substation. And I believe one line goes towards the Saranac area, and then one goes further north, which is where the wind corridor is. So it's sited in between those two, one load pocket with the Saranac Plattsburgh area, and then one is the generation pocket with all the wind up north. So the idea is it'll charge from the wind overnight and then discharge to support the Plattsburgh, Dannemora area.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not,
Still going on.
Oh, are you? No, I don't think so. Are you guys done presenting, David?
Next page.
We can be. I'll just leave this up on screen. These are the same tax revenue impacts that we stated at our last meeting. Again, I mean, I think what we're trying to do here, and the reason that you have these wonderful economic development tools is, we're taking 16 acres that's, in tax revenue, making about $500,000 maybe over a year, and trying to turn that into 13.1 million over the first the term of the pilot for years 1 through 20. So north of $120 million. This has a huge impact for tax revenues across multiple jurisdictions, including the school. So here are the numbers of pre-IDA. Pre-IDA pilot and post, and then you've got some status quo numbers here just for your review.
And just so you guys are aware, the company has asked for a 20-year pilot period. I have prepared those cost benefit analysis for that. I did a 15-year and a 20-year, just so you can see the comparison. You'll have that at the next meeting for your approving resolution. I would concur with most of those numbers, and that the benefits significantly far outweigh the regular taxation.
What conversations have you had with Northern Adirondack to date?
No conversations with them. We've met with you guys, obviously, and then the town of Dannemora. And we've met with the town supervisors, I believe the local fire departments as well. So we've just introduced the project to them, but no formal process beyond that.
So, just by way of practice, remember we are moving forward with allowing school districts to receive their pilot payments in the form of host community agreements. That is on the school to get those host community agreements and, to get those resolutions taken care of. Their council has to take care of that.
Well, I agree, they need to take care of it, but they need to know the project's going on before they can contemplate taking care of it.
Well, they would be notified like they're notified when we do the public.
I think it would be prudent for the company to reach out to the school district.
Okay. And they would have to, right? Because they have to establish that host community agreement, so.
Just a quick question, is the Adirondack Park Association doing the seeker determination?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they're going to be the lead permitting agency for this project. Yep.
So this IDA would piggyback off their determination. So
Yep.
it's kind of a chicken egg thing, couldn't
Right.
close until that determination is made by the
Right.
IDA. Okay.
Regarding the fire department meetings, have any discussions about their concerns? I don't know if they have the technology to even understand what this brings into their community. Is there any discussions or comments from them that you've noted?
Yeah. So yes, we had a initial meeting and then we brought in a fire safety consultant and the plan. We essentially walked them through the project, the timelines, and our plans. So we're going to conduct trainings, safety sessions, information sessions with the local fire departments, make sure that the local staff is trained. We have the appropriate emergency response plans in place. So we haven't formally started documenting and putting the plans together and hold the trainings yet, but discuss the plans which they, had no issues with at that stage.
Okay. No, it's good to hear. Thank you.
And same with the town as well, like with the town of Dannemora.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, then, may I get a resolution, please? May I get a motion, to authorize the executive director of the County of Clinton Industrial Development Agency to hold a public hearing regarding a proposed project to be undertaken for the benefit of BGTF New York Best Holdings LLC. Mark, Dave, any discussion? Not. Roll call vote. Trent Ferdinand, yes. Dave Cleveland, yes. Mike Zerlo,
Yes.
Mark Vetta,
Yes.
Joey Tremblay is excused. Christine Peters.
Yes.
John Van Ackman. Motion carried.
All right, thanks, guys. Most appreciated.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Strategic investment.
Yeah. So, thank you all who were able to give feedback on this. I just wanted to make a note before we talk about it real quickly that these were not arbitrary numbers. I'm a huge AI fan, so ChatGPT and I have become very good friends. And
Do you have a name?
You believe all that?
I don't have a name for it. I probably should name it.
Because I've run into an awful lot of people really using it. And that's my main question. I mean, do you just
Good
say
question.
ChatGPT?
I only type
You
into
call
it,
it-
so. Well, Trent, you really
Got
got
it.
my wheels spinning, because now for the next meeting, I will definitely provide you with the name of my ChatGPT. So what I did to come up with these buckets, so to speak, is I uploaded all of the treasurer's reports, and the minutes from the last 2 years from the IDA into ChatGPT. And basically told it, the discussion that we had at the last meeting, John, had said, listen, these are great initiatives, right? But we kind of got to have a budget, so to speak, a guiding principle to work by, so that we're not just like, oh yeah, that's great, throw it at that, or maybe we've done enough of that this year. So it wasn't Molly just being like, oh, this sounds pretty, and I think I want to spend that much money. It was literally like, here's what we're trying to achieve. Oh, and I also uploaded the marketing strategy from Golden Shovel to go along with that, so that it knew what our goals were going to be. So that was the framework that you received from me, is the buckets and all of the different discussions. What I got back was some great feedback from you guys. And so I just put together a quick slide. This is basically what you told me. Loud and clear, we want to make sure ROI. We don't want, we have to evaluate this every year. This can't just be, we have to redetermine it every year. A lot of it came down to kind of governance and things like that. We want to make sure that we're leveraging our partners' resources and that other people have some kind of skin in the game, right? It's nice that we're handing out money to do workforce development initiatives or whatever, we decide to spend our money on. Go to a site selector conference, might be fun for me to go to New Orleans, but how do we leverage skin in the game with our partners to do that? Is it worth talking to TDC and the chamber to say, hey, let's combine forces, kind of thing. So all of you were pretty much in favor, for those who participated, in keeping the framework that I set up, that these buckets were kind of a good idea. It certainly provides some structure. We can separate, what we think is an investment versus just an operating expense, and really supports strategic decision-making with what we're spending our money on. It gives you kind of, just more oversight as to what we're spending our money on periodically. So what should be changed? So the biggest thing that I heard was that, we want to reframe these dollar amounts as not a cap, but more, here's a planning idea of what we think can work here. And I think the biggest thing is that we wanted to really keep this flexible. We want to make sure that that we do this annually, that we put in some governance over it, so that there's some framework there to say, how do we look at this each year? And so how this would work in practice, and again, this was based on ChatGPT, because I said we're best friends, but I took all of your feedback, put it into ChatGPT and said, okay, how would you change it based on all of this feedback? So each year we would go over different targets in the buckets to see if that's working for us. We would need to have spending that was, within the planning regions that fits within the money that we are taking in. You need to review them and approve them on an annual basis. So there's some metrics there. And then results will be reviewed annually, understanding that ROI, you want to look at the ROI over a year, but that you may not see an ROI right away, that understanding that there's a 2 to 3 year process for that. So that was kind of where we landed. You can see what it is, what it is not. Biggest part, we're no longer just going to write blank checks to anybody that walks in our room. If the chamber comes to us and says, we need $10,000 for this, we need to understand what bucket does that fit in, and does it fit with our mission? If Clinton Community College comes to us, does it fit within this bucket? Is it something we want to do? So, discussion. So this is why I wanted to bring it all to you today, to just kind of bounce some ideas. And I did talk to John and Joey over the phone. And John had some other feedback. He was fine pretty much with the buckets, and said the similar things that you all echoed, that, don't make it a cap, kind of be flexible with it. Joey wants to see ROI. Joey's always very, very, he always brings up the ROI stuff, which I think is really important. And so that's kind of the framework for you guys to have a conversation about that today, to see, how do you feel about this? What specific things would you like me to have change for the next time that I finish this document for you? So, do the buckets work for you guys? Are the planning ranges and governance approach appropriate? Are the proposed metrics review sufficient? How do we want to formalize an annual review and reauthorization, and what refinements make this more useful for the board and staff? So I'm throwing it out to you guys.
We're getting fairness to a sideboard here.
But see, that's the beauty of ChatGPT, right? Because it's not always right. And it's not a human, so that's why it's important to have these discussions to say, okay, what can we make better?
No, certainly, what you provided was good from my aspect. It's just the thing that I see sometimes some of these things come very quickly and we're having to, we don't have a lot of time to review. There's certain times, like, for example, I think I had 3 things from 3 different boards I had to review and prepare this week, so I'm trying to remember everything and what the timing is, but, and I'm not sure how everybody else applies to it, but I thought you did a great job with this in summarizing everything. The thing that I'm a little probably most concerned with dealing with marketing firms is that marketing firms want to lock you in for a period of time and so on. And sometimes we're not looking, you get A and B, but then you got C, D, E, and F that are coming that you're going to have to be paying on. I'm not sure how that fits into us sometimes because they may be doing it for some other county or whatever the case is going to be. So I just think if we have some form of a, like you mentioned, a discussion period when we transition, just to get us that we feel comfortable with that. And then certainly I'm sure you'll remind us, hey, we met on, March and we discussed this and this is the summary of what we did. That helps me at least. I don't know about others remembering when we go through some of that because I don't talk about it every day. Like the folks that work here do,
And thank you. And thank you everybody that did provide the feedback because I know that you all serve on many boards and you're all very busy and you have real full-time jobs and this is the world I live in, not the one you live in every day. So I do really appreciate the feedback because I think it's really important that we do spend our money in a very careful, planned way because we don't want to just keep throwing it at things. And so I really appreciate the feedback that we were given. With regards to marketing, just as a reminder, so with Golden Shovel, we did contract with them for 5 years. I have been very impressed with them thus far. I have seen the soft launch of our website. They're still working on, ironing out the kinks, but I mean, they did a beautiful job.
It's good to hear.
I mean, it is fantastic. So the tools that are on it and like even the capability, they're going to build in a capability so that we will list the 2 county properties on there the county owns and is trying to market, but CDC will have the ability to upload listings there. TDC will have the ability to upload listings there. Facet Realty can upload commercial listings there. Anybody can put that on our website. So it's just a really,
it makes it more collaborative.
It's very collaborative. It really to me was like a one-stop shop website. It has all the demographics about our county with regard to workforce, with regard to income, with regard to households. It's a fascinating website and very, very user friendly. So if somebody is looking to come to, and then, behind that comes the marketing money that we had committed to already. So I don't think we're spending any more in marketing right now because we've already committed some of those dollars. But yeah, to your point, yes, as those opportunities come with marketing, I think it's important to have those discussions because that may look like, putting an ad in a Site Selector magazine, right? Are we going to get an ROI on that?
I mean, you've educated me here on things that I know we talked about before, but there's things that are benefiting that you're bringing up that I think we really didn't discuss in a lot of detail. Also having the bucket of money that we have to responsibility for. I think it also will give us an opportunity to not overlook opportunities and how we can market other areas, which we haven't had that opportunity, due to lack of, funding and so on and so forth. So I think that creates a good opportunity and puts a little bit more of a burden on this plan, I guess, and trying to get it a little bit more refined. So that's great.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Any other thoughts, discussion?
It's fantastic.
Oh,
Something that we could adjust along the way.
Absolutely. And I think that's it, right? It's a living, breathing document. It's not, this isn't like, oh my gosh, we're married to this because we don't need to like formally approve. Do we need to like formally adopt it? Is it just?
You should have. Doesn't look.
Okay. So at the next meeting, I'll take all that feedback, try and get you a reworked document. Is there anything else anyone wants to add? Delete?
And we'd be looking were we going to be looking for a year period and have an annual review?
Yes, and that's exactly what ChatGPT suggested based on your feedback is that you have an annual review of this to make sure that each year there's a little governance over this document to see how you want to adjust things.
Good. No, that's great.
Yep.
That's great.
Awesome.
Moving on to
annual meetings, the New York State EDC annual meeting sponsorship. So this is what we sponsored last year with the baseball game and we got nice little t-shirts that said IDA all over the state. So it's a really good opportunity. It's Chris, would you say the most widely attended
That's-
event that they have?
So this is the conference to go to
Yeah.
for EDC. It's at Cooperstown. They host it at the Otissaga every year. Everybody's there in terms of ideas across the state, executive directors, the lawyers. So it is the most important meeting of the year.
And I think the return on investment was pretty cool, because we got some cool t-shirts. And our logos were everywhere, you know, and it's kind of a cool thing, and it actually brings up conversation, when you're talking at the softball tournament, to like have people have the logos on, and, oh, so, where's Clinton County, and what do all those good things. So, and I can even speak to the spring conference that we just had. I was approached by Ostroff Associates. They're one of the largest lobbying firms in Albany, who works with a builder, who wanted to approach me about some of the projects that we had going on up there. So, I mean, these are the kinds of connections, and I had a really in-depth conversation with him about the Bluff Point campus. He works with hoteliers, he works with housing developers, he works with, you name it, he worked with them. So, these are the kinds of connections that will get us our return on investment. Motion to approve it, yeah.
To approve, the annual meeting sponsorship.
What's the dollar amount?
I think it's 3,200.
Yeah.
Yep.
So moved, Chairman.
Second, Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. IEDC membership.
So this is the International Economic Development Council. I know it's a low figure for membership. Dee Dee, remind me, I said
385.
Thank you. 385. Not a realm we've really jumped a lot into yet. They do have some pretty interesting conferences. TDC has been to their conferences, looking at working with them on being a little bit more active in IEDC. And this is actually the overarching organization that does the economic development certification. So you work through them to do it. So that's something someday I will finish. And I did get the basic economic developer course, but you can get your actual certification. Danny King has hers. So someday we'll get there.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Workforce Development Program.
Yeah, so John and I had a long conversation about this morning, and he and I shared some of the concerns. So Chris, this is going to be homework for you.
Okay.
Or Shannon. I think overall it looks great. I don't know if anybody else has any specific feedback they want to share now. I know that Mark, I'll have you talk about that in a second, but John and I share concerns about it. We want it to be more just workforce education focused. Like there's still an option for like straight lease back on there, temporary jobs being created. The metrics for this are going to be a little different and not the way we would normally work up. I don't want this application to be looked at as a project application.
Sure, okay.
It's an education funding program.
Got it. Okay. We will revise that.
And Mark had, I was hoping you would share some of the stuff you sent me.
Yeah, it was just really the thing. I used AI too.
That-
From that standpoint of this, because I was, because when you use the term workforce development, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's a gamut of things. So you go down and you look at it. So possibly maybe put a section in the beginning of it, preface what it is and what you're really trying to do, or the options that you have. This is intended to do, just as you said, A, B, and C, because, we've gone through this looking for a number of additional workers that you're going to add, or, improvement to the, X, Y, Z in the community. And, as long as it gives them some guidelines, and it also helps me, what are we approving then when we get it?
Right.
So if I
Right.
say, well, what's this about, Molly? You're gonna
Yep.
say, just look at it. And
Yep.
that's what I thought was missing.
Very good.
In some of the forms, I sort of laughed at, when some of the forms I had address, they had that much room for the address.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more of a, PDF, form fill type, if that was a real sample of it or not, but just maybe make it a little easier to fill and edit. So,
Will do.
So is there a deadline on when that application needs to be in?
No, That's kind of the fun, like, right, so we'll work within our bucket to try and, when the application is ready, don't worry, Billy Jones is already knocking on my door for the application, so. I would like to, do some sort of press around this when we finalize it, because I want to give all of our educational partners the opportunity to take a look at this and see, and then additionally, as we spoke at the last meeting, this is just kind of another, tool in our tool belt, when I go to these red carpet events that Gary hosts, for companies that they're trying to court here, I don't know a whole lot of other IDAs that can say, we'll train your workers for free through this educational institution. That's and that's the biggest complaint we hear among the employers, is that we don't necessarily have the skilled workforce that they need, and they can train their own people for cheaper than the schools can do it for them. So if we can help give some money to attract people here and utilize our educational institutions while we're at it, it's a win-win.
So we'll revise the draft.
Yep.
Provide a red line might be hard to see with all the.
Yeah.
But we'll get that to you, at least so we can advance the
Yep.
so you take a look.
Perfect, thanks,
Okay.
Chris. Yep.
Okay, office space.
You want to take this one, or you want me to start?
I can take it.
All right, so as you know, we're looking to hire another economic developer. We have received a couple of solid applications. There were a couple of people that had solid applications, but were missing a few things based on civil service, like they didn't give me their degree, or they didn't give, they were missing something. So we did reopen it, for another 20 days. I think it closes March 17th or something like that. Just to give those applicants an opportunity to resubmit what they were missing. But we do have a couple of solid candidates I'm very interested in interviewing. And, I don't know who's been into my office, but, I don't think Dee and I can put another person in there. So, as we are aware, our congresswoman is not running for re-election. And her representative here, has been wanting to work from home for some time to finish out the remainder of his tenure. And so that space is rented by Clinton County, and the congresswoman has offered to terminate her lease early to allow the IDA to utilize that space. So, and they were giving us all the furniture that's in it. So they are getting income. What is the income that you get right now?
$850 a month.
It moved up to 890, yeah, 890.
Our administrator isn't looking to,
Yeah,
we already pay an administrative fee. However, in the interest of fairness that they're going to hand over that space to the IDA, I thought there could be a discussion about at least supplementing the loss that they're getting from that income.
it is good space for.
It's the most ideal space. Dee Dee and I have both been down there. It's an ideal space for what we need.
So, we would have meetings there.
No, we'll still have them up here. It's not that big.
Just a tiny
It's not
house.
really
It's just
big.
tiny.
It's
not real big. But it is perfect for 3 people. It's perfect.
I don't think there's anything in I want to look at your policies to make sure there isn't anything that we have to be cognizant of,
Okay,
but you're not acquiring property, not
No.
buying property.
it's the same as what we do here, right?
But
yeah.
we'll take a quick look
Okay.
at that here this week. I don't see any problems.
We're not in a rush because, as I said, we want to hire this person, which we have already budgeted for. I want it to be the right person. I'm not going to rush into hiring somebody just because for the sake of hiring and putting a body in there. I'm doing the job now. It's, it will be much easier when this other person comes along, to do more, but, we want to wait for the right person. So we're not, and we're certainly not kicking the congresswoman out. She was very nice and gracious, and, we were thankful for, and I think she doesn't really care about spending the money on it. So she's like, sure. Well, Chris, if you want to look into what we're allowed to do there, and then
Absolutely.
if I'll work with the administrator to
Yes.
see what a fair price is.
Any other business?
Well, the only thing I'll say, and it's gonna sound awful, because I would be taking a different position if I was sitting in that chair, but the space is gonna be occupied by not only IDA staff, but county staff, so in my humble opinion, it should be less than we're charging someone else. Yeah. because the county wouldn't charge itself for the office space.
Fair point.
So we need to count heads and assign those values.
I think they
One
could, I
place
think,
or-
I think everybody is friends enough that we could come up with a number, but I, the IDA has certainly done its. Well, listen, I know the county helped when the county needed to help. But I also know that, we're getting the benefit of an economic development director because of the IDA, so. I think we need to play ball as well.
Nice guy.
Where's Mike?
Seriously, following Christine.
That was the applicants over there.
Sorry.
Is he one of the applicants?
No.
I'm not qualified.
So, yeah, we don't have any other business. Did you have anything from the county perspective you wanted to share?
Our Sand Road Water District, is closing around, I believe, April 23rd. So that project will be going, they're doing easements and getting access to basements. So that water district is going to be going forward this year. We've also, Casella is also doing a leachate pre-treatment, expansion. So we're partnering with them as well on that, and that's in its infancy stages, but we just applied for a grant to facilitate the leachate pretreatment project. There is some legislation coming, we believe is coming down from the state on how leachate needs to be treated, how it needs to be dealt with. And I think Casella is getting out ahead of that, which is good. So that's another thing. And then our airport director has been here for 30 days. So new airport director, Patrick Sharrow, has been here for 30 days and he's got some really good ideas about moving the airport forward. So those are some good things.
Very good.
Great. Thank you.
And I'll just, Chairman, pull out a few things from my management report. Chris is already on the case with Microbird as far as the announcement that they have now been fully acquired by Bluebird. Bluebird was a 50% shareholder anyway. So we just aren't sure how that impacts any of our legal documentation. Obviously everything's staying the same. And the CEO is the same there. So it's just a matter of checking our stuff to make sure we're on the right page. And then, 6B Holdings is kind of on hold for now. This is the Elks Club project. They had mentioned that they might want to put short-term rentals in there, and Chris and I had a conversation with them that is not really the purpose of our housing incentive, nor do IDAs benefit short-term housing.
Right.
So,
Airbnb.
yeah, and so I did, enlighten them too, especially given that they had scaled the project back significantly from what they had originally proposed, that it might not even be in their best financial interest to move this forward. So they're going back to the drawing board and that's just going to be on hold for now. And then the legislature received a briefing from CPL with regard to the Bluff Point campus redevelopment. It was done in executive session because we can do executive sessions to discuss the sale of real property. So I wanted to make sure the legislature had an opportunity to fully vet that project as it is their property. So they are comfortable with the concept that was presented. We are going to take that back to the stakeholders that were all involved in providing feedback to get to that concept. And once we do that, we will bring it to this board for public review. As I can't do that in executive session here. So I think that's it. Unless there are any questions.
Any other business for the IDA? If not, may I get a motion to adjourn? Mark? Dave, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Clinton County Grant Facilitation Corporation, waive the reading of the notice of the meeting as well as the minutes, and ask for a motion to approve that. Christine? Mark? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No public comment, committee report. We just have the governance commission.
Yes, Chairman, the Governance Committee of the Grant Facilitation Corporation met early this afternoon. Committee reviewed 2025 statements, reports, and is unanimously asking that the full board approve and authorize posting of same to Paris.
Okay, any questions for Mike? If not, may I get a motion to approve and authorize posting of all 2025 reports to Paris? Christine, Dave, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. With no old business or new business, may I get a motion to adjourn? Mike, Dave, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,